So my name is Yongkang. I'm actually recording the session just for myself, yeah, and I can share with anyone are interested to learn. Let me move this around. I'm a CNCF ambassador and a Calico ambassador and the CloudCasa ambassador. So this is normally I introduce myself. I'm also the founder of the Kubernetes user group, the short as K8SUG. So we are the largest active Kubernetes Meetup group in Singapore. And because of our popularity, I'm also expanding to other countries. I just launched the K8SUG Australia. So we're a little bit behind, right? Let me move on quickly. So here is the agenda for today. I will first actually slide to change my topic. So my first section will talk about automate AKS cluster, and then followed by automate the AKS protection. I need the backup of the containers, and then followed by additional, links to share with you how to learn how to get certified, and last but not least, the Q&A. But I don't mind if you have any questions, feel free to interrupt to ask. I'm not good at introducing myself. I just put my digital badges here. Okay, I love Microsoft. I love Azure. I'm 11 times Azure certified, and it keeps doing more and more. And I'm fully certified on Kubernetes. And feel free to take a photo. Yeah, I'm not a Microsoft MVP yet, but I'm applying. And here are a few links. Feel free to follow me by LinkedIn. I'm a little bit popular. I got 29K followers from LinkedIn. A lot of people follow me to learn multi-cloud, learn Kubernetes. And I also have my YouTube channel. Right now, 2,200 subscribers. So Azure AKS is one of the popular ones. I also have the Kubernetes user group. Also, if you want to ask any Kubernetes related questions, here is a group chat. Okay. I forgot to mention towards the end, we got a few questions, and we do have some. This one was provided by Microsoft. So there is a digital ebook. And in the meantime, I also bring my own swags, okay, to share with you guys. I do have 3 t-shirts. That's my K8SUG Australia logo in front. Yeah. And also some of the pens also from all my sponsors. So I will share with you guys. So why AKS? Why manage the Kubernetes? So because people don't want to manage by themselves. If you self-manage your Kubernetes cluster, it's so hard. A lot of stuff you need to learn, to tune, fine-tune. So according to CNCF survey last year, so these are the top 3 managed Kubernetes. So obviously, Azure Kubernetes service. This is one question I will ask you. What are the non-popular Kubernetes? So from Microsoft, it's called AKS, Azure Kubernetes Service. It's very popular. So this topic is not the introduction or the 101. I will go straight to show you how to spin up a AKS cluster. Okay, does that sound good? So I will go straight to give you a live demo. If you don't have a Microsoft account yet, or Azure account yet, it's pretty simple. My daughter recorded a video. So 5 minutes, you can sign up an Azure trial account. And then you can run the automation scripts to spin up a AKS cluster. So let me jump to, this is my VS Code. And this is, hold on, where is my other window? Yeah. So I log into my Cloud Shell Azure portal. So you log in here. So all you need to do is you just clone the repository for my GitHub page. So I'm going to show you the GitHub page. So I do create an automation for all different Kubernetes distributions. AKS is one of the popular ones. If you click AKS Casa, and you will see one command, 5 minutes, you can spin up AKS. I forgot to update the latest version 1.26. We're going to spin up the cluster immediately. you can go straight to the README section. So all you need to do is just clone the repository from my GitHub page. So I can copy here, paste it here to clone, but I already made a copy. So that's why it says it's already there. And next step is you just automate the AKS cluster creation. You just run the AKS deploy. So once you've done the testing, remember to destroy. You don't want to keep charged by Microsoft, right? So I'm going to spin up the cluster right now. So press enter. So in about 5 minutes, fresh new AKS 1.26 cluster will be ready. Any questions so far? Are we all good? Yeah. Have you guys tried the AKS? Technically, you can create a from Azure portal, but you will be asked a lot of different questions. And it's very hard. You can make it within 5 minutes or 6 minutes, sometimes 4.5. So while we're running here, let me go back to the slide. So we will come back to the portal here. So this is how to automate the AKS cluster. So a little bit of preparation task I already touched on. You clone the repository, and then optionally you can also customize the cluster name, the VM size, or the region, the zone you're using. But you don't have to. Okay, AKS deploy, that's the command to automate the AKS cluster. And a part of the automation, I also deployed a sample database, a PostgreSQL, because you want to try all different stuff. And then, as I say, remember, once you've done your testing, destroy it, remove, clean up. So I'm also including a few reference links here. So like how to sign up a trial account, where is the automation code, and how to create an AKS cluster from the Azure portal. So I guess 5 minutes wasn't there yet. So day 2 challenges. The day 1 is very simple. You just run automation, you can spin up an AKS cluster very quickly. The common thing is that people often forget your containers running anywhere on AKS, on premises. You still need a backup. It is true when people initially adopting containers Kubernetes, it's completely stateless. Technically you don't have to do the backup. But nowadays, roughly over 50% customer running the state of workloads inside of the containers. So that becomes more important, very critical. You need backup your container, how to back them up. I also have a playlist, how to back up the AKS containers. For my the next section, I will talk about how to automate the container backup on AKS and how to secure my containers. That is another big challenge. Day 1, I spin up an AKS cluster very quickly, but how secure my containers? Do you have more visibility? So that is a pretty tough, pretty challenging. And the other big challenge is I'm running on premises or I'm running from other cloud. I want to move all of my containers to Microsoft Azure cloud. How to make it happen? You're not going to do manually because of human error, all these challenges. So using the right tool, it allows you to move to definitely reach the application mobility or portability. You run your container, you create your container once, you can run it anywhere. You also have the mobility, you can run from any cloud. So we all love Microsoft. So here is a tool allowing you to easily to migrate to Azure cloud. So let me come back to the okay. Looks like it take a little bit more time this time. Any question? I want to give away this one first. It's a ebook provided by Microsoft. Does anyone have a question? I think there are a lot of different ways you can automate. So for me, I haven't shown you here yet. If you go to the code, I actually use very simple code. So you create a Azure resource group and then AKS create. That's the command to create the AKS cluster. But there is a lot of different ways. There is tools like a K8SUG or Terraform where you can automate as well. Argo CD, you can use GitOps to create the infra as well. Yeah. Here you go. The first giveaway. Yeah. So be more active. You ask questions, I will send you some stuff. Okay. And so for me, actually, I created this. It's mainly for the learning, for people who want to learn. I don't want to maintain the desired state at all. You do have the option. I actually by default I give the options. I by default I created 2 nodes, but you can set the minimum node and the maximum node. It is hard coded. Yes, yes. I got you one swag as well. Which you want a medium size? The t-shirt. Yeah. Any other questions? Feel free. Medium size. Okay, okay. So you guys see. So by the end of the scripts, you can see, wow, amazing. 4 minutes, 15 seconds. Not only I spin up an AKS cluster, I also have a PostgreSQL database deployed. So if you are a developer, you want to just deploy some application to some testing, or you're an infra guy, you want to try the backup, it's ready. I do agree with you, but if you just need the infra ready, just one command, it's done. And in the meantime, if you want to do from the UI, actually all of these stuff are available from here. If you click AKS, the AKS cluster is already here. Yeah, for the if not technical, you can do deploy application. You can do from the UI. So it's mainly to get you something ready. You can immediately to try your application, deploy your application. Okay. You can get a large. Okay. So I only have 3. The last one reserved for Excel. Okay. So we got the cluster ready. If you want to do some verification, let's say I want to see how many nodes. I got a 2 nodes cluster here. It's running 1.26. If you want to see how many namespace here, I do have a PostgreSQL database also deployed. So you can immediately do some additional testing. So if no other questions, let me continue. Just to summarize here. So the first topic we talk about here is, so AKS is one of the very popular managed Kubernetes. If you haven't tried, yeah, give it a try. It only take 5 minutes or 10 minutes maximum, including create a trial account, okay? And you can clean up the environment in a few minutes as well. And automation code, it's publicly available. Question? So one of the differences why I should go manage the Kubernetes. So one thing is the time to market. You want to quickly to deploy. If you can technically you can create the Azure virtual machine. You build your own Kubernetes. There is something like, for example, you want to go to the latest version 1.27. It's not available from a managed Kubernetes yet. So that's one big thing. The other thing is you want to stay with any particular version, which is not available from a managed Kubernetes. So not every version is available from the managed option. The only list here is the option you can choose. If you want to choose your own upgrade path, pace, you don't want to stick with the managed Kubernetes. Yeah, for example, they only manage the latest 3 versions, but you are behind. You want to still run 1.21 or 1.20. So that's not an option. You use the managed Kubernetes. Yeah. For majority of customers, I would say they will go with the managed Kubernetes. It's so easy. Life is easy. And also not to mention the upgrade maintenance also. You got to Excel, okay? So the rest, I also have some pen. The pen also pretty good. You can use it for your mobile phone, okay? And let's continue. Again, I don't want to introduce myself, just again to show off my digital badges. So typically in the large enterprise deployment, you typically have multiple clusters running from a different region, different geo. So if one cluster is broken down, it doesn't matter. You got the load balancer in front end, it will divert all the traffic to the rest of the available regions. And if within the single cluster, maybe one node is not, it doesn't matter. It will create a new node for you. So there is that's why the Kubernetes, there are a lot of benefits of self-healing, the part of the automation stuff also built in. So that's why if you look at the market, almost every customers are looking to adopting the containers, Kubernetes, yeah. You got a pen, yeah? Yeah. Mm. Yeah. There are a lot of the mechanism to make sure it is working. There are readiness check. There is what's the other one? Readiness check and also liveness check. There are a lot of the checking mechanisms. Also, well, I think it depends on what type of messaging system you are using. You might be using Kafka or any other managed the. Okay, yeah, I just want to quickly highlight why the container backups are also important. So a lot of things might happening. So for example, even you're running on Microsoft Azure Cloud, the data, the end user's data, it's your responsibility. Microsoft doesn't care your data. If your data lost, that's your problems. So it's your responsibility to back them up. So could be there is an accident, deletion, malicious attack, a cyber attack, all these could cause your data lost. You might want to move container between production and the test environment, or maybe you want to cross cloud, cross region, cross account, cross version migration. So these are the tools, the container backup tool can help you. So the last one listed here is you might want to meet the compliance or regulation requirements. So you need a backup. So how to do the backup? There are a lot of different tools. I listed a few here, the common backup tools for Kubernetes, especially for Kubernetes. So not to mention the traditional legacy backup vendors, they also can do the Kubernetes backup, but it's not a specialized tool. So for example, Veritas or Veritas, there are Dell EMC, IBM, Commvault. There are a lot of companies. Veeam also does the backup, but their tool not specializing for the Kubernetes containers. At least here, these are the specialized tool for containers. Azure backup for AKS, right now it's in preview. So if it's available, once it's GA, I'd be surprised if you're not going to try Microsoft AKS backup for Kubernetes. Right now it's in preview. And the second one I listed here, there is a #1 free open source backup tool. Have you guys heard of the Velero? No, never heard of it. That's the #1 open source free backup tool. It's very powerful. It's a very powerful engine. Almost everybody, if they're doing container backups, if you ask 10 of them, they are doing the backup. A majority of them are using Velero. It's an open source tool backed by VMware. And then there is the bottom of the three are mainly the commercial products. So Kasten by Veeam, it's a startup company acquired by Veeam. So these guys are claim they are #1 Kubernetes backup. And then another one is a Portworx, acquired by Pure Storage. They also claim they are #1 Kubernetes storage. They're more focusing on the cloud native storage rather than backup. Backup is an add-on tool to them as well. The last one I mentioned here is CloudCasa by CatLogic. They talk about we are the best Kubernetes backup as a service tool. So remember earlier we talked about the Kubernetes. People love to use the managed Kubernetes. But when it comes to the backup, do you really want to self-manage your backup? So two of these commercial tools mainly self-managed. I have dozens of clusters. I need to deploy to dozens of the cluster. And then I need to self-manage to do the upgrade and maintenance. But this guy comes to here and say, you already using the manage the Kubernetes, manage the OpenShift, for example. Why you need to manage the backup for yourself? So you can manage the backup. That's the CloudCasa. So I'm not going to, we don't have enough time to show you all of these, but I will use the two of them to give you a live demo to show you how it works. The first one, the #1 free open source tool, Velero. And then CloudCasa, okay? So how to enable the container backups for AKS? Let's say I already have the new AKS cluster running. So how to do it? You can follow the documentation page. So you download and install Velero. It's a command line tool. And then you set up an Azure storage account and you create a blob container. And after that, you create a service principal for Velero. And last but not least, you install and start the Velero backup. The whole process, if you read the documentation, technically you can follow the link, follow the documentation to do by yourself, but it's still time consuming. So what I did is I automated. I created the automation. I automated. It's in the same GitHub repository. I created additional command scripts here, Velero-deploy. So basically, you already have an AKS cluster. You just run this command. You only take probably about 1 minute to enable the Velero backup for your AKS containers. And again, once you've done all of these testing, you need to destroy. But if you are running in production, you probably look into how to customize it for your customer environment. Yeah. Yeah, I will show you shortly. So yeah, without wait, let me show you. So since the last step, we already cloned the repository. You already have the command. So I'm going to jump to here. So what I need to do is I just basically just run Velero-deploy. Okay, you run this command. It takes about 1 minute to enable the Velero backup for your AKS containers. Any question? The storage, in this case, I create an Azure blob storage account. And I also create a blob container for my backup. But technically, you can choose any one of the S3 compatible storage. So it could be from other cloud, it could be your on-premises object storage, also supporting. The tool just give you the capabilities to do the backup, to store the backup. You need to establish the connectivity to your on-premises, for example. Maybe Azure Express routes or maybe VPN. So as long as you have the connection, so when you add the new backup storage location, it's called BSL, it will ask you where the endpoint, how to connect to the object storage. Okay. So by now it's almost done. So it says we're waiting for the BSL becomes available. Once the backup storage location is available, it will start to do the backup. And I also automated scheduled the backup to do every hour. But basically, I only created the automation yesterday, last night, after my work. So it could be there are some bugs. Yeah. If you do notice anything, let me know. So by end of the scripts, you can see, this is my sample database application. So by the end of the script, I already enabled 1 hourly schedule backup for my application. In this case, PostgreSQL database. My first on-demand backup jobs are actually already completed. And total time of how long it take? This time it take 1 minute and 37 seconds. Pretty amazing, right? If you look into the document step by step, it takes a long time. Any question? No? Sorry, I missed the question. Any containers. So for example, here I don't have much more stuff. Only the one Yong-PostgreSQL, that's my sample database. But if you might have dozens or hundreds of different applications running, you can select to backup each particular namespace. Yeah. But the thing is how to do the backup. If I'm going to show you the scripts here, so the Velero backup and Velero deploy here. So you can see this is how I do the install the command and how to install the Velero. Okay, my backup storage location, I was using this AKS resource group, and this is my storage account, etc. Okay, but for your information, how to run the on-demand backup, you basically run this command Velero backup create, including your namespace. But you see here, it's completely command driven. If I want to do the restore, how to do the restore? Let me show you now. Let's say, actually, let me come back to, it's automatic. It will schedule to run every hour. But you can customize the schedule. If you want to say, I want to run every 10 minutes, every 30 minutes, it is also doable. But my automation right now, I created to run every hour. Okay. So let's say I want to do something. I come back here. So I want to do this. I want to simulate a disaster. Let's say I remove my application. So let me remove this application. So basically, I just destroy my whole namespace. Everything is gone. How to do the recover? So the next step, how to do recover? Basically, yeah, you can confirm once it's removed. I'm going to confirm my namespace is gone. It's not existing anymore. So you can run Velero backup cat to check what backups you have right now. So I do have a completed backup here. So how to do the restore? Basically, you just run this one command. Yes, the software also running in your. If you delete the namespace, you need to restore the Velero first. It is doable. It's a lot like the disaster happens. You need to restore your Velero first before you can restore the rest. Yeah. So I'm going to copy the command. So this is the command Velero restore to create from the backup which we just created. So you made a very good point. So I'm going to answer your question shortly. So right now you can see my container is creating. I just run the command and it's almost ready. It's already running. It's just waiting for the readiness check. Once readiness check, it will be showing here 1/1. Okay. So, oh, sorry, what's your question? Oh, multiple version. Yes, it's very important. Right now, I only have one backup, right? If you run the same command, Velero backup get, you can list all of your backups here. You can choose from any other backup to do the restore. But again, it's fully command line driven. If your team, if you have the highly skilled team, you can read, you love the command line, it's a very good tool. It does the job, do the container backup, do the container restore. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, the thing is, it's based on your schedule. You can schedule more often to the backup, but it's different than traditional. Like you want to take an example, like a SQL server, you have the transaction log, Oracle, you have the archive log. It's not that way to do the backup. Yeah, it's a full backup of the moment, the time you took the backup. Okay. Is that incremental? Yes, it is technically, it depends on the storage provider. So, for example, I got the PostgreSQL database here. If I'm going to list what storage class I'm using my Microsoft, here I've listed all of the storage class. Depends if the storage class support the incremental backup, but most of them it doesn't support, yeah. So your backup is always incremental. Okay, so only take like a few seconds. You already restored it. If you do a list again, the namespace, you can see. So my application already come back. Okay, any question? All good? This is pretty cool. I love it. If you haven't looked into the backup for your AKS for your containers yet, this is one of the best tools. So I also included a few command here. So this one I already did earlier, and this is a command how to do the restore from a Velero backup. And it's an open source. The Velero is an open source. And how to verify the backup storage location, you can see them. It's a part of a CNCF project. Yes, yeah. It is a CNCF project. It's part of the under storage. All these backup to the cloud native storage, all under the storage category. Yes. Okay, so what are the typical use case? You need a container backup, a container DR, container migration, or mobility. And you want to do the simplified upgrade maintenance. I give you an example to explain this one. Even you are using managed Kubernetes, like a Microsoft AKS. If you do the in-place upgrade, sometime the stuff will break because some of the API changes, some of the API deprecated and they introduce some new APIs. You thought after the upgrade it should work as normal, but it's not the case. Most of the time, actually, it is pretty challenging. So instead of you do the in-place upgrade, you can, just in the 5 minutes, you can spin up a new cluster, 1.26. I want to move from 1.22 to 1.26. I just take a whole backup and then restore to the new cluster. Life is a lot easier, much more smooth. Okay. So including a few reference links here. So automation code, documentation, and also, yeah, feel free to join my Kubernetes user group. And I also have the Kubernetes data management user group, mainly focusing on the data management, the backup DR migration piece. So now the question is, do I really still need a third-party backup tool? What do you guys think? You guys saw the Velero backup? It's pretty simple, yeah, pretty powerful, but not everybody can operate it because it's a fully command line driven. What if you make a mistake? What if I want to, you ask I want to restore from a different version. Is there any easy way to just like the guy mentioned, I need a nice and easy to use UI? No, there is no. So lack of the nice, easy to use web UI, you don't have it's a self-managed backup. I have dozens of clusters. You need to deploy dozens of times. You need to create a backup storage location dozens of times. You need to create the backup schedule all separate. There is no centralized management. There is no multi-cluster, multi-cloud management by default. And also lack of the advanced recovery capabilities. So basically allow you to restore everything back. What if somebody deleted secrets, deleted configure maps? I just want to recover any individual resource. Is that possible? It is possible. It is a little bit tough. It's not that easy. So I'm going to show you here is the CloudCasa. It does. You don't have to replace anything. You continue to use Velero, the open source tool. On top of that, they just build a nice web UI for you to easily to do the backup, for you easily to do the restore, to do the guided recovery. Okay, so let me show you this. So hopefully we still have enough time to cover this. So we are already here. Actually, I should go from here. If you want to try, actually, why not? I already showed you. 5 minutes you create an Azure trial account. 5 minutes you spin up an AKS cluster. 1 minute to enable the Velero backup. By that time, you can get $50. Serious, yeah. So why not? Yeah. So if I click this link, actually, it wasn't pop up here. Let me. So I'm going to copy this link here. I just copy here. So basically, right now there is a promotion. So you just sign up for a trial account. You create one cluster. It will give you the option to get the $50 gift card. So and how easy to sign up a trial account? You just provide your username, your email address. You create a password. You don't need to provide any payment details. And once you click sign up, you will get the email. You click verify, and then you can log in. So if I log in right now, let me show you. So once you click login, this is a nice, easy to use web UI to allow you to easily to do the backup, to do the restore. How to connect to my AKS cluster. So this is running from the cloud, it's managed backup. How to connect to my cluster. So from configurations, you click clusters. And from here, I just add a cluster. Let's say I call AKS for Yong number 2 or number 8. I can actually manage my existing Velero instance. So I already running the Velero in the AKS and click register. And you will be given a command. You just run this command from your AKS terminal and press enter. So what's going to happen is it will deploy a lightweight agent to allow you to talk to CloudCasa, the control plane. And then you can to manage all of your backup. So let's say if the service is up running, so it will create a new namespace called CloudCasa-IO. Right now, container is creating. So by doing this, once the Kube agent is up running, it will allow you to talk to the CloudCasa, the control plane. So the benefits here is not only to provide you a nice, easy to use web UI, give you the guided recovery options, also it actually discover all of your existing backup. So my backup I did earlier, you will see from the UI. And you can immediately to do the restore from the UI rather than I run the command to do the restore. And also part of the restore, you will see a lot of advanced capabilities. I will show you shortly. And any question? Good? Yeah, this is pretty cool. Huh? So what's going to happen is I created my cluster by default 2 nodes. If no activity, it will drop to 1 node. So right now it requires more resources. It will auto scaling to spin up an additional node. So because my resources need additional power. So right now, this capability provided by AKS. Yes, yeah. So you can see right now it's distributed the workload across the 2 of the nodes. And shortly, the agent is up running, okay? So once the agent is up running, from the dashboard, you will see, so my cluster will be showing active. So which cluster? I do have a, so remember I mentioned the multi-cluster, multi-cloud management. I do have a lot of cluster list here. So right now, what we care is the AKS for Yong number 8. So it is showing active. Not only we allow you to connect to the cloud to manage your backup, it actually discover all of the existing backup, your existing schedule. So for example, if I click the details here, my initial backup, it's already discovered. So how to do the restore? You can check the more details, like you can have a more visibility into your details rather than you run command to check the log. So for example, how long it take? Only like a few seconds. Here is the activity log and how many resources you backed up. And if you want to do the restore, if I go back to the dashboard here, how to do the restore? You just click a restore button here. how to do the backup. You don't have to run the command. You can run the backup from the UI. You just one click. How long you want to keep? I want to keep for 14 days, for example, and I click run. And this job running from the UI also appear from your command. If you want to run a Velero backup get from the command, you will see the new job as well. Azure storage account, yes. And if you want to, for example, you want to create additional backup storage, you don't have to use the command line. So you actually, you can from the UI side, I want to create additional storage. So what storage you want to create? So you add a storage, you can choose Velero storage. And you can choose any, which cluster you want to create it to, and what type of storage you want to add. Okay. And your backup schedule also discovered here, where? So I only showed you earlier. Let me do a search on my AKS. Actually, it's not a core AKS. Yes, it's part of my automation. I created the storage account and also blob container. If you want to verify from Azure blob storage, you can see from here, all of my stuff are from this resource group. And my storage account also created here, Yongkang AZ SA. And if you go to this account, you can see your containers, your blob container is here. And inside of the container, you can see the backup job. The backups of the restore job details. Okay. So from here, I mentioned earlier, you can easily do the on-demand backup. It could be before your changes, you want to take a backup. What if I want to do the restore? Life is a lot easier. You click the restore button here. How do you want to restore? From which recover point? You can pick up any one of the recover points. I only have one right now. And I select this one, click next. And how do you want to restore? I only back up this one, I restore this one. And you can choose to select the resource type. I mentioned earlier, somebody deleted configure maps. I can just select the configure maps, do the recover. I can just do the replica sets or rule binding recovery. So for now, let me leave it as it is. And the next one, this is very powerful. Do you really want to recover to your original cluster? Maybe not. You want to recover to a DR side, or maybe from a production to a test server environment. Or maybe for the DR, you don't want to maintain your cluster, keep running. Microsoft will charge you, right? Only when disaster happens, I spin up a new cluster. So when I do the recover, before I do the recover, I can create a new cluster. This is very powerful, yeah. So you can choose any one of the public cloud. So for now, we talk about the AKS. So you can choose to spin up a new cluster for me before you do the recover. Yeah. And yeah, let me just do the restore from my original cluster. You can, if you have multiple clusters, it will be all listed from the drop-down list. You can choose which cluster you want to recover to, your target cluster, which is a lot easier comparing you to from a command line. You can use Velero to restore to a different cluster, but it is a little bit challenging, okay? And also it allows us to do the transformation. I want to restore from this namespace. I want to rename to a new namespace. It is a lot easier. Let's say I want to add a clone and click next, click next. So you give a restore name. Let's say restore number 8, click restore. Actually, before I click the restore, I want to monitor here. Yeah, it's already monitoring. So while we're talking here, the new namespace has been created. We are creating the containers. So I hope it is useful to you guys. Yeah. So the company actually does provide a managed storage for you. But if you want to choose your own storage, you can create your own storage as well. Yeah. So I'm wrapping up. Yeah, it's almost there. Yeah. yeah. All right. So you do have the option. You can bring your own storage. You can use any one of the managed storage as well. For the managed storage, you can also choose the region. It could be Azure in Singapore, Azure in other region. Let me come back. Actually, I do have a few slides to share with you guys. So remember, this one is pretty cool. Yeah, you learned all of this stuff. You just follow my GitHub page. You can complete all of the. You meet the requirements. You can get the $50. So for this section, we talk about there are so many different tools. Which one I'm going to choose? My personal suggestion. If the company have the cloud first or open source first, why not use Velero? And if you do love the managed options, CloudCasa on top of Velero, it's a very good option. But if you really want to, once the Microsoft have the Azure backup for AKS ready, that's a very good option from a first party. Why not? And the last two, it's my least favorite, to be honest. First of all, I don't want to self-manage my backup. I love the managed option. So, but not to mention both of them are charged quite a lot. So, okay, the last one, just including a few links. How many of you are Kubernetes certified? Come on, guys. You need to get certified. But from time to time, CNCF does provide the exam voucher code can reduce the cost. So after my trip to Europe, I went to the KubeCon, the last KubeCon event. After I came back, I shared the code, the 40% off, which is pretty good. If you're interested to do so you can join my, there is a Telegram group I created. I share the information which I have. And yeah. So just to share with you a few links. So I did all of these. I use these materials. It's pretty good. I was using 3 different training materials for my exam. But after I compare all of these, Code Cloud, or you can buy from Udemy, is cheaper. Okay, this the best. Join my Kubernetes Meetup group. And I'm looking for more volunteers, more sponsors, speakers. I will share the slide deck with you guys. Next KubeCon event in Shanghai, China. Anyone interested to join? I'm planning. I'm also looking for sponsors to sponsor my trip. I mean, to cover my air tickets and hotel costs. Yeah, thank you very much. I hope it's useful to you all. And feel free to come back to me. Yeah.